The drivers are like, no, it's not real racing. You guys were using hybrids just yesterday. Like,
literally.
What are you talking about?
Fatima, you're gonna hate me for this because you're a big fan of the series. It needs to go.
You know what?
It needs to go. It needs to go.
I'm shocked. Hello, and welcome to Hold the Past, a podcast all about passing on insights, knowledge, information, stories, and experiences between friends from every corner of the paddock. That includes me, Misha.
And me, Fatima.
You, dear audience, and our guests. Today, we are joined by two people who are growing the motorsport community through their international coverage of all racing sports. They have been also kind enough to join us for a collaboration, which means that this is one of two episodes that we will be speaking with them on. So please welcome to the show the hosts of the Number45 Podcast, Stephanie and Ncumisa. Hello.
Hi,
It's so great to have you. How have the two of you been before we get into any chit chat? How have you been?
I'm tired. I've been exhausted. I've been moving between South Africa and Kenya and within Kenya, and I'm just tired. But I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel the same. We had a bit of a busy weekend, had like a busy Monday, Tuesday. And yeah, it's been quite a hectic week for the two of us, but it's been good.
I can imagine. That's the thing about motorsport. Like, your weekends are just go, go, go. And then, like, we also all work. And it's like, you don't get any rest, but you do it because you love it. And I know that feeling. But I'm so happy that you guys are here. For our audience listening in, listen, we have made this work. All four of us had, maybe not Stephanie. All the three of us had technical issues. And I was like, is Mercury in retrograde? I don't know. And like, even as we're recording right now, I'm like, I hope they can hear me. But I'm so happy that we're making this work, and we're so happy that you're all listening in. What how our podcast works is we kind of like to know the history of our guests. We also like to chat about them, chat with them about kind of what got them into motorsport. So I really want to know the story of Number45. First, I really want to know, how did you two connect? And what was your first link to motorsport for both of you?
It's actually, I don't know if it's kind of similar to your guys' story where we met online and then things kind of grew from there. So we knew each other from Twitter, and Stephanie made a post about like a Red Bull sponsorship changing from one team to another team. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I've never thought of Red Bull sponsoring anyone else but whatever team it was. I even forgot now. And we just got to chatting from there. And then Stephanie found me on Instagram and we connected on there as well. And basically, yeah, that's how we started. She mentioned like on her Instagram stories, when you kind of talk to yourself on your Instagram stories and you're like, no one's going to care, but I'm going to talk about this anyway. It was kind of that situation. And then she was like, I should really start my own channel, fan channel, whatever. And at the same time, I was wanting to start like a DTM podcast. So I was like, oh my gosh, let's just combine our two things. And yeah, that's how Number45 came about.
Oh, that's so sweet. So I guess that is really similar to our story, first of all, because Misha and I met through Threads. And then just like it snowballed into this. So that's really funny how the internet can bring people together and, make really good friendships out of it. Can you guys kind of get into how like you first fell in love with motorsport? Like what made you like even aware of this world?
For me, I found out about motorsport through a Disney movie. if you're a Disney fan and you've watched the movie Motocrossed, that's
I'm
how.
screaming.
Yes. Yes. If you watch Motocross, that's how I started learning about this world. So I think I was like 11 or 12 when I first watched Motocross and really liked it. And basically the movie talks about a girl who can race, or she's racing on behalf of her brother. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Girls can race too. And the next thing I did was find a track where I live. And I did. And like started practicing to race dirt bikes for a while. And then just kind of spiraled. My Google search and everything was motocross and all of this. And yeah.
I'm obsessed with that. And you, Misha?
Yeah.
Mine was more of the typical story that you hear. It was from my dad. I would watch Formula One with my dad, and yeah, basically that's it. I would just watch the races with my dad, and at some point, I became more interested in Formula One than him, and then, funny enough, what got me into more than Formula One was Lando Norris's YouTube videos. I don't know if you remember his Lando logs.
Yeah.
There was one Lando log where he was doing like the WTF1 charity races, and he did it with Calvin van der Linde. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait, there's a South African racing driver? I did not know that was a thing. And it kind of snowballed from there to everything that we do now.
I love that so much. And I just have to say, Misha got into, I don't know, I'm speaking for Misha. Misha got into motorsport, first fell in love with motorsport with the movie Rush, and I fell in love with motorsport from Fast and Furious. So, you know.
For real.
I don't think any of us had like a typical entrance into motorsports. Honestly, Stephanie, when you were talking about a movie and it was like a Disney movie, I know it's not Disney, but I was like expecting you to say Cars because I know so many people who got into it for Cars.
Yeah, every time you speak to someone, they're always like Cars, and I'm like, you're not wrong. Cars is, but Misha, you haven't even watched Cars, so
I have not. I still have not.
Misha, you have to get on that. Like,
I know. Okay, like watch party?
Yes.
But speaking of your podcast, I wanted to know a bit about where the name Number45 came from. How did that come up with, and how long have you two been hosting it together?
So basically, I was talking to my friend, and when I was coming up with like a motorsport page, and he said, "You like Rossi, you like Hamilton, just get the number in between." I was like, "You're right." So that's how number 45 came to be. It's literally the number between Valentino Rossi and Lewis Hamilton, who are my big faves. And we've been running it for 2 years. I tried it before solo and it just didn't work because there's no fun in talking to yourself.
Yeah.
So Ncumisa and I have been doing a podcast since June 2024. So 2 years now. And yeah, it's been a blast, actually.
I love that. And I love that she just, was like, yeah, this is the name. We're both in it.
But no, honestly, same with us. Like Fatima came up with our name and I was like, that's it. That's the one. Like, that was my contribution.
Yeah, literally.
I love the fact that it's just like the number in between because honestly, I get that. And I don't know why when you were saying that, I was thinking of Franco Colapinto for some reason. Because, like, am I right in saying that, like, he chose his number because it was similar? Like, I can't even remember. But there's a story about his number and Lewis Hamilton, if I'm correct.
That would make a lot of sense for Franco to choose that number. Like, he loves Lewis. So it just
I know.
Makes sense that he would be like, I need to be as close to him as possible.
Cracks me up every time, for real.
No, 100%. Also, how long have you two been hosting your podcast for now?
We've been running it together for 2 years. We've been a bit like inconsistent with the podcast, especially last year, but we're really trying to pick things up this year. We try to do once a month episodes, and because we cover so much, it becomes a bit difficult to do once a month now. But we try our best.
I mean, you guys crack me up every time you guys post on your story. You're like, and we're back this time for real.
No, that's generally people call us out for that. They're like, "Hey, we've been waiting." I'm like, "We're coming, we're back." And you're always back.
My dad was even like, "You guys should switch your name to We're Back because we just say it so much now."
No, honestly, but we're so back. Like it's
actually so funny. It's a running joke at this point, so it works.
No, exactly. It's great. But also, you mentioned like you guys cover so much like content. Like you do everything from WRC, WEC, MotoGP, everything. Like aside from just F1. And I wanted to ask, how do you keep up with all of these series? And like, how has that been for you?
So it's become it does get quite busy, especially when there are certain weekends where everyone will race on the same weekend. So it becomes quite hectic. We have realized that as much as we'd like to watch races live, we can't really do it with all the things we cover. So we do watch a lot through highlights, but we try to catch up with races. Like with Formula One, I probably won't watch the race live, but I'll catch up later. And then another thing that makes it really easy, I found, is that a lot of the series we cover in terms of endurance racing for me, they are on YouTube. So it becomes very, very easy to find the link or catch up later when we're busy or whatever. So it is quite busy, and you're constantly having to write down notes to remember everything that you're watching. Or if it's like a 6-hour endurance race, you can't really remember everything. So in terms of endurance, I talk about that more than Stephanie does. So I will follow through BMW because I'm a BMW fan. So I will talk through the race from the lens of following it through BMW, which also makes it a lot easier. I don't have to follow all these cars and all these teams because I'm following one team. I can, just focus on that one team, how that one car is doing, and then talk about major flashpoints as well. So I'm not really missing anything that's happening in the race, but I'm still participating and I'm able to talk about it.
That's really smart, actually.
Yeah. So, yeah, like she said, she'll do mostly endurance. I think the major sports that we share is F1 and MotoGP and WEC, because we both watch that or consume that actively. And then I do dirt bikes, enduro, so motocross, enduro, rally raid. That's kind of my, but we both have an understanding of each other's main sports. So she'll talk about a DTM driver or a DTM or IMSA, and I know what she's talking about or what she's referencing. So we can always like chit chat about the races. So that's kind of how we work it out.
Yeah, I actually really like that. And that's something that Misha and I are trying to get a bit more into, not with like necessarily motorsport series, but like other sports. Like I'm a big soccer fan. Misha is always like, I don't watch that much soccer. So we're like, but Misha, you do basketball. No, you're a basketball fan. Like, I mean, I'm also a basketball fan, but I don't know. Okay, that's a lie. I'm a big basketball fan, but in the sense of like, we want it to be a bit more conversational. And I like the idea of like how you both do different, series, but you're able to kind of have an understanding of what each person like, heavily focuses on and have that conversation. I also really like how you said you focus on BMW and you tell the story like from the BMW side of things, because that makes like, I just like, as you're speaking, I was like, oh my God, I'm having an epiphany. This is such a good idea.
Thank you.
So true.
Okay, so on that, because you guys cover so much series, is there one that you're like, you know what, this can be gone. We can get rid of this series. We don't need to watch this or have this and like have it removed from like the calendar for life.
Fatima, you're going to hate me for this because you're a big fan of the series. Extreme E, Extreme H. It needs to go.
You know what?
It needs to go. It needs to go.
I'm shocked.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Okay,
No,
tell me
listen.
more, please. I'm here.
No, listen.
I'm here.
Here's my thing. Great concept. Great concept. Not the greatest execution.
I know.
Sorry.
I agree. I agree.
And
I agree.
that's why. That's my only
No.
reason. That's my only
I
reason.
absolutely agree. Like, you know, it's so funny that you bring it up. Like, it pains me that you said that, but it's so funny you bring it up because, like, a few days ago, I was genuinely thinking about it, and I was like, "Is this series ever going to return?" I was like,
No,
I honestly, I get it.
So that's always my thoughts about Extreme Age. Like, I thought it was really great. Like Stephanie said, they had really, really great idea, like doing equal female, male drivers, the whole racing around the world in remote places. It was really cool. And then I think the transition from Extreme E to Extreme H has just been kind of messy in like
I
the nicest
agree.
way possible.
Like, they just, like, I don't want to say dreamt too big, but like almost to the point where, like, even for myself, I'm like, girl, I don't know what's going on. I'm not gonna lie. But that hurts. But I feel you. It's fine. I thought you were gonna say F1 at first, and I was like, there's just no way.
No,
That's where I thought it was going.
No,
You're gonna
I know
hate
she
me.
loves Extreme E. What did you say?
Not that I would take it away from the calendar. I just wish it wasn't so many people's entry points into motorsport, so that we
But,
do
like,
not
isn't that
have
a
to
good
talk
thing?
about it as often.
Yeah,
Like,
you're right.
not to hate Formula
It's so
One, I
true.
just feel like it's very oversaturated at the moment. So, and we wait for we kind of wait for a block of races to go past. So a lot of the stories, by the time we get to them, will already be spoken about. So it kind of feels like I'm reheating someone else's nachos every time I talk about Formula One.
Yeah.
And I love talking about it. I always enjoy our episodes that Stephanie and I do. But I just feel like the market for it right now is a bit too oversaturated, and there's no way to kind of have a proper nuanced conversation about the sport at the moment. Because if you do, you don't get the views of people who sensationalize things that are going on. So
Yeah.
I'd
And
say
that's
I'd take it
honestly,
off our coverage, but I wouldn't take it away from Motorsport. I love it, but yeah.
I was screaming when you said you're gonna hate me, the way we all went silent.
Literally.
But I actually relate to that so much because Fatima and I record our episodes so far in advance that by the time it comes out, like whatever we're talking about is old news.
Yeah. And that's also why we don't do race reviews though, because like it's just not, by the time we record, like we said, something new is already happening. And that's also why I stopped doing race reviews so long ago with the race edit specifically, because I'm like, I feel like I'm fighting an uphill battle because everyone does a race review and we're all talking about the exact same thing. Like there's nothing more that can be said, like actually.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
Yeah.
Like in our last
That's-
episode, we were even like, we're not going to do a race review. We're just going to
Exactly.
talk about big stories that happened around Formula One, like off the track,
Yeah.
and
I think
give our
that's the way to
takes
do
on
it.
those. But even then, by the time you get to it, it's already way too late. Everyone picks up their camera like the instant someone happens. So,
Oh my gosh, you guys have jobs?
Yes.
For real. I'm like, what's going on here? But I kind of want to get into a bit more about motorsport in Africa. So as a person living in the diaspora, I'm always so curious about what the motorsport scene is like back home. I know Stephanie kind of spoke a little bit about it off camera, but I would really like to know from your own experiences, in your respective countries in particular, can you tell us what's being done right when it comes to pushing motorsport in your country and what you think could be done better?
Please don't cancel me. In Kenya, nothing. I'm sorry. But hey, And I know people will ask, but we have the WRC passing through Kenya, and it's one of the favorite destinations. It's very challenging. They like it here. True, the drivers like it here, but there's so many things that have come with the WRC. In 2025, there wasn't funding for the event. For some reason, the money just disappeared. Vendors hadn't been paid, suppliers hadn't been paid, and it was just chaotic. And then I remember Carl Tundo, he's one of our most iconic drivers. In that year, he said, we love the WRC, but it's not doing anything for the local motorsport scene. They feel, in fact, it's impacted it in a worse way. And he was like, money should be made from this event and given to local talent, because we had drivers participating in the FIA Rally Stars. We have good rally drivers in Kenya, but again, nothing's being done about it. So now they just put him in charge. He's the new CEO for WRC. So hopefully we'll see something out of it. But also, we also have motocross in Kenya. We've had issues with the federation, money issues, management issues. It's very weird. So in terms of motorsport in Kenya, the talent there, everyone top of the game. The kids are trying, even the adults, the drivers are trying, but it's just the management. Our Ministry of Sports, our federations, they keep letting us down. So I'm not going to spare them. Just going to say, yeah, they're not doing it right.
For me, in South Africa, motorsport is very, very white. Stephanie and I were at Motocross this past weekend, Motocross SA, and we, on Saturday, the first day of all the action, so it was practice, qualifying, all of that. And literally, as soon as we walked in, we were like, oh my gosh, where are the black people, basically? And throughout the whole weekend, walking around the track, we could count the number of black people there. So apartheid still runs, unfortunately, very deep in motorsport, especially because it's, like everyone knows, you need money to participate. And because basically mostly white people have the money to participate and to continue to participate, the spaces become very white-centric. And I've heard a lot of stories of kids of color kind of being not bullied out, but having to kind of being forced away from the sport because they keep getting in incidents and you can't keep replacing parts like every weekend. And then stewards' decisions won't go your way because the kid's parent is involved in Motorsport South Africa. And it's a really big issue. Like, I love the racing, and it gets a lot better in like circuit racing. You will see like black drivers and all of that, but still then you can not count them on one hand, but you can kind of spot who is who. And mechanics are also still mostly black as well on that hand, on the other side of that. So we are still very racially divided. Like, you can still kind of see the remnants of what apartheid was in the country, which is kind of sad.
I can only imagine how much it's like in South Africa, because we like motorsport in general, as we know, is like a very white dominated sport. And obviously they're trying to make it more diverse in like every aspect, but like it still has a long way to go. And I kind of want to transition over to my next question with, we know that South Africa and Rwanda have really been pushing to have Formula One return back to the continent. I have my thoughts as to why I think, there's a hurdle as to why Formula One is struggling to return back to Africa. But before we, discuss that, we're both curious to know what you think the biggest hurdle right now in getting a series like Formula One back to the continent is. I mean, we know that rally is thriving in Africa. I mean, sports in general are doing really well back home. And we're seeing the return of other countries and regions such as Portugal and Turkey. And soon we'll have South Korea back on the grid. But yet, you know, Africa is still not really being taken as serious as those countries. So what do you guys think is the proponent of causing this delay?
I think a big one for me is, okay, so from the South African perspective, we don't have promoters who are willing to put in the money for it. So a lot of promoters will get excited about it, and then we'll have like a one-off. So like Formula E, really, really great race. Everyone was super excited, but we had it once. And because you can't really make money quickly in motorsport, you kind of have to invest 5, 10, 15 years in the future. Promoters dropped off after that one race. Same thing is happening with Kyalami. They can't find the money that they want to host the race. And track updates will kind of take a while. So there's things like that. And then in terms of the broader African landscape, there just aren't tracks to host. There's not like a quick fix like in Europe or North America, like where you guys are. There's kind of not plenty, but there's lots of options in terms of where we can go. In Africa, you kind of we're starting from scratch, basically, trying to, especially to get like Formula One back, because it needs to be a grade 1 circuit. And we kind of can't trust our governments to put the money in and use it wisely So like here you need around maybe more than 100 million rand to make it work.
I think the sentiments are pretty much the same. Like I said, other government ministries in Africa, because people believe Africa is a country. Yes, our leaders will eat the money. They won't invest it in what it's supposed to be invested in. But also, maybe this is going to be a hot take. It should have been a hot take. I just don't think Liberty or the FOM want the racing back in Africa as bad.
And
if they want
that's
to do,
my thought.
They have Las Vegas and they're running it by themselves. It's owned by Formula One Media Group and Liberty. Or if they wanted it that bad, they would have done it.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want it bad enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's my whole take.
I don't even think that's a hot take, because that's exactly what I was thinking. Because Misha and I in our last episode that we did, I don't think it even dropped it. We were talking about how South Korea is returning. Misha would be like, if Formula One really wants to like, you know, I can't remember your exact words, but like the South Korean market is amazing. And I'm just like, and that, like, honestly, I agree with you, but it also made me so sad because I'm just like, they don't want to invest in countries in Africa. And like, I feel like it's a concentrated effort as well. I think they like to have the conversation and get people excited about it because it is a great, it is a great topic. But at the end of the day, if they were serious about it, they would have started to put the money into invest. And of course, we know that our governments can be very, very, very annoying. They cannot be trusted, unfortunately, which really makes me so upset as well. And that's a conversation for another day, truly. But I do think if they were serious about having that return back to a country in Africa, we wouldn't be in this like beginning stages still of conversation, you know?
I agree. And I mean, if you think about it, they've been really serious about pushing the North American market. And how many races do we have in the United States alone? 3. Like, surely one of those spots can go to any track in Africa. Like, be so for real. I think like if they genuinely wanted to, they could.
Do agree with what you said, like when it comes to back home, and like there isn't, you don't get an instant reward with hosting a Formula One race. You're losing money to begin with, you know? And like, unfortunately, we're not in a position right now to be losing that much money. But it would be great because again, it brings so much work to the local economies that is racing it. So it's like, it's hard.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And I hate to like talk bad about my government
I
because
know.
other people do that a lot. But it's kind of the reality of our situation right now.
Mhm.
And it's also kind of like the government has bigger things to worry about. So I'm never
They do.
too upset about not having a Formula One race here.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot going on. So I kind of understand when they're like, okay, we're going to put this on the back burner until we can breathe or until they can get money or something like that. So it's very difficult. It's very upsetting.
Yeah. There's bigger fish to fry, essentially.
Basically.
Exactly. Honestly, priorities.
Yeah.
But I do kind of want to turn the conversation towards a motorsport that is thriving in Africa, and that's rally. And both of you have said that rally is not a spectator sport. So I really want to get into this because how do you think that rally could become more accessible to watch in person? Or is this just kind of like the nature of the sport being so rough and like that's what makes it special?
I'm pretty sure that comment was mine. I like saying rally isn't a spectator sport. But I say it from the lens of rally will still operate with or without spectators. It doesn't need you. Even as a spectator, you don't pay for tickets. You don't do anything. You just put yourself in a nice spot and see the car go by once. So, okay, multiple cars go by once. So I think just how rally is set up, it makes it difficult to be like a full spectator sport because with the stages, you'll see the cars go by once. You see, for Formula One, they do like the laps around the circuit, so you'll see them multiple times. But with rally, once they pass through, they're done. It's the next stage. So that's what makes it difficult to like fully position. You're always chasing the cars. And I feel like also the context of that statement was the rally raid because of the Dakar. It's very hard to have spectators in the desert or outside the bivouac area or like a central watching point. So I just think it's not really convenient for them. They could have better coverage and reduce the price points for their TVs. Like rally TV is a bit pricey. If they could, give people a decent price, then maybe they'd have more spectators. But I think people just consume them through social media and YouTube or the highlights. So my friends have refused to believe me, but that's my reasoning.
Just on that rally TV thing, I looked into rally TV and I'm like, there's just no way. I'm not. It's just not happening. I don't know why it's so expensive, but I mean, they got to make money somehow, right? But I think I can see both sides of it being a spectator sport versus it not being a spectator sport. But I think that's what makes rally so special as well, too. And it makes it so different from like other series. It's like, it is that nature of it. And I think because of that, it has like its own die hard, like, this is real motorsport fans, versus us people who watch Formula One and we're so hoity-toity. But I kind of want to talk about connection and community a little bit. One thing that, and I know you guys, we spoke about it a bit earlier, is how like motorsport can bring people together. I mean, it brought Misha and I together, it brought you two together. And it can connect so much people from so many different parts of the world. Can you talk a bit about how your experiences in the motorsport community have impacted you and what it's like to be a part of this community as content creators?
It's kind of been a bit up and down for me, that I find. We do come across a lot of people who are like very welcoming and very supportive, like you guys and like our friends and a few other people. But it's just like what I said earlier, it's very difficult right now because the market is so oversaturated, and because no one is looking for something outside of Formula One, I think.
Yeah.
And we're Stephanie and I we'll talk about Formula One, but we kind of enjoy talking about other things more. So it's really difficult to connect to people who are outside of the Formula One community, which is where most of the online F1 community are. So I've found it a bit difficult at times, but everyone has been really, really nice. I'll do a shout out for them here. There's a group in South Africa full of girls. They're called the Purple Sector, and it's like a group of women. These two girls, Nicole and Vianney, started the group because they just saw a need for it as the sport was growing. And so we have like a whole WhatsApp group. They have an Instagram, and that's become like a really, really great community because you can kind of just talk about anything on there. But we can also talk about the racing and like changes and technical stuff, and everyone helps each other understand things. So they have been like really, really great for me. This past month, I've been with them since like mid-May.
I've done motorsport stuff with Stemmet, so that has been great. I've done motorsport stuff with Driven Bias. That's great. So the online community is really warm. The offline community is half and half. Yeah. And I was explaining this to Misha, and I was like, oh, some people here when we're at MXGP is like, people here are warm. Kenyan motorsport scene people are very cold. Like some of them, hey, I feel like they'll come for me. I've been saying
you've been on Kenya today.
I'm sorry, I really love you guys.
No, it's okay. We love it.
No, I love Kenya.
You're on their necks, Stephanie. Give them a break.
But yeah, the reality, unfortunately, is motorsport is elitist. And sometimes when you're in these spaces, and sometimes you'll feel, and they'll make you feel like, why are you here? Like, you're not supposed to be here. This isn't for you. But generally, I think the online community is warm, and I don't leave my house enough to interact with the offline community anyway.
Period.
So I'm good. I'm okay with it.
That is so funny.
Sorry,
Misha.
just to build on what Stephanie said, like with what she said about it being elitist, it kind of does feel like that, like coming in as a fan and not being like inside the motorsport community can be really difficult in South Africa. Like she said, like you feel like, I don't know if it's true, but you kind of feel like everyone's kind of looking at you and they're like, what is this random person doing here when you're at a track or something?
Yeah.
And it helps that they are very nice people. Like mechanics will talk to you, and if you go up to someone, they're very, very nice. But especially like in South Africa, like what Stephanie was saying, if you're the only black person in this, not the only, but like you're one of very few black people, it's also like, okay, I need to find the only black person as like an entryway, and then I can talk to someone else.
To build off of what you were saying about like community and stuff like that, when we were speaking with Jordan, oh my gosh, I can't remember Jordan's handle. You know, Jordan, the photographer, she was talking about how like again, like as we know, Formula One is predominantly white, and like whenever she's in these spaces, sometimes it's like sometimes she's just like she's like, I'm the only black photographer sometimes in these spaces, and like everyone is so welcoming in the paddock, like you guys mentioned, like on that aspect, but like when you're dealing with outside forces, it can be a bit, you know, and like I've had that experience. I feel like the online community is a bit hit or miss, in the sense of it's either you're like, you have amazing support, or they're just like on you and you're like, whoa, what's going on here? And, motorsport, like it's so hard because a lot of people only watch Formula One. And so it's kind of like when you're doing your podcast and stuff, you have to bring people in by speaking about Formula One before you can even like move into what you really want to talk about, such as the other series. And like, it's annoying because you don't always want to do that, but like, that's like how you get people in. And it's just like, okay, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's really tough. I'm finding that especially for Steph and I, we really want to kind of, I found for me, I don't know about her, but I found for me, I want to start leaving the Formula One stuff behind now that we've got a group of listeners. But at the same time, endurance racing is it's like a niche of a niche that, and no one wants to sit down and watch a 6-hour race. No one's got the time when they could watch a 1 hour 30 race. That's Formula One and come away with so many things. So it's really, really difficult. Like you said, like bringing people in through Formula One is fun. And I love talking about Formula One. I can talk about it all day. You can ask Stephanie during our episodes. I'm like rambling. I've got things to say. But you kind of want to talk about other things as well because we cover so much and because there's so many interesting things going on outside of the world of Formula One.
Yeah. And that's something that even for us with this podcast, because we ultimately are a sports podcast and we're going to be speaking about other series. And like we've recorded some episodes now where we're speaking about other sports and stuff. But it's like when we were starting off, we're like, okay, well, both of our respective audiences know us from Formula One and Motorsport. So we kind of have to start off with Motorsport before we build on to other sports and whatnot.
So there has been a lot of discussion about what a real racing fan is from both the fandom, especially with like the changing demographics and younger fans and female fans coming in and like the kind of pressure a lot of these fans are being put under, as well as from within the paddock, like the F1 paddock itself, especially at the beginning of this year while the kinks of the regulations were being worked out. Max Verstappen had that comment about like, you're not a real fan if you enjoyed the Chinese Grand Prix and stuff like that. I know you've talked a lot about this on your show, but I would love to have a chat about what being a real fan is and who gets a say in that and what kind of your experience has been with that.
I don't think there's a checklist or like a metric that qualifies people to be fans of a certain sport. I think if you enjoy the sport, whether you consume it casually, through highlights, through blogs, however you choose to consume it, I think you're qualified enough to be called a fan. But my issue is the dilution of sports, especially when it comes to the female audiences. Everyone tries to dilute the sport for the consumption for female audiences. I don't know why they think we're dumb. I don't know why they think they have to dumbify it. And I have nothing against, for dummies. It's okay. It works. But everyone's saying you have to compare it to this. And then they have to like, quote unquote, dumbify it is a bit unfair to female fans because female fans already get a lot of, you don't understand the sport. Can you tell us who was a champion in 1963? All those things. So, the new fan base of especially creators that dumbify the sport, I'm a bit concerned about that. I'm not saying they're not fans. I mean, for them to be able to dumbify the content, they're consuming the content for sure. But I just wish they had a better way to bring in more F1 specifically, but motorsport fans without dumbifying the content.
Yeah, just to build on what Stephanie said, I used to love that about other sports. Like there's other creators on TikTok who do like, I don't know if you know Mariah Rose on TikTok.
Yeah.
She was basketball, NFL, all of that. And she had like a Hoops for Hotties series where she would explain basketball like for the girls. And it was really fun at first because it kind of felt unique and all of that. But now that it's happening with every single sport and it seems like it's the only way to get women, into sports fandom, it's it's quite concerning, especially when you have to compare things to makeup and all of that. And it's like, okay, but not every girl or woman or, female presenting person cares about makeup. Like sometimes they just want to know what the thing is, just explain what the thing is. And then in terms of what a real racing fan is, like you guys said, we had a lengthy discussion on our podcast. We've had this discussion twice, actually. We did like a whole influencers episode because it was a hot topic. And we've noticed that it comes up every time we go to America, basically.
I knew you were going to say that.
Every time we visit the US, because the US is like the hub for influencers, you'll see this conversation come up a lot of times. And what irritates me about this conversation is the fact that people think that if a team or a brand or Formula One itself were not to invite an influencer, they would invite the fans, which is genuinely, it will never happen. I'm sorry. Like, it happens every once in a while where a team will see a fan in the stands, or they'll know that a certain fan is coming and they'll invite them into the paddock. But as a normal motorsport fan, you bring nothing to the table that a team would want. Going into the paddock for you is not a benefit for Formula One or the teams. It's actually a hindrance. You're kind of in their way. And it's not to be like fans shouldn't be involved in the sport. We should have more fans in the sport. I think the sport should be more open. Like Stephanie and I were at motocross this past weekend, and on the Saturday, like normal fans were just allowed to walk through the paddock. They had a really nice paddock show. You got to meet the riders. And I think endurance does this really, really well, where IMSA and IndyCar do it really well, where you can have the fans on the grid before a race. You can have them walking through. You can have that access as a fan without being in the way and without having to pay an exorbitant amount of money. Yeah. But Formula One is a whole different ballpark. We all know it's elitist. We all know what values it was kind of founded on.
Yeah.
And you as a normal person is never going to be of benefit to them. Like, it's always going to be, it's always going to be, Formula One wants to show itself as cream of the crop, as classy. We want to show ourselves as a classy motorsport, right? So you're never going to have just the regular Joe who's in their Red Bull merch next to the car on the grid on a Sunday, because that's not the image Formula One wants to portray. All these other series want the fans involved because they know how much they rely on the fans. Formula One can kind of run without the fans. Like, they need the fans because they want to make money. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry. Not to...
No, because like I
understand where people are coming from in terms of we want to be more involved with the sport. We want Formula One to bring fans in. And of course you want that. You want activations. You want teams involved. You want Formula One as a sport to actually interact with you as a fan. But at the same time, we kind of have to realize what we are and what image do we want to portray. We want to say that we're better than all these series. Then we can't have fans on the grid. Like, that's just, you can't have it both.
You know what? Sorry, because like this is a conversation that Misha and I are wanting to have on our pod as well too when it comes to that, because you're right, this happens every time, especially when Formula One goes to Vegas. Ooh, the think pieces are coming out. They're coming out. But like, and this might be a hot take, which is great because we're actually going to go into hot takes very soon, but this might be a hot take. But I think I've hit that point now where I'm like, I don't care if Formula One is this elitist thing. I'm so sorry. Like, I know what Formula One is, and then like this is what Formula One is. So I'm like, I understand. I think there is a lot of room for it being more accessible for fans. I think the ticket prices are ridiculous. It's more expensive for me to go to a race in a different country than it is for me to go to a race in Canada for the Canadian Grand Prix, because it's ridiculous. Like, you have the ticket prices, you have your hotel prices, you have your transportation prices, your aircraft prices. Like, that's a couple thousand right there in general. Yeah, I think that part is ridiculous. But I cannot be mad at Formula One if this is what they are, like, when it comes to how they show themselves to an audience. Because at the end of the day, it was built off of people who had money, you know? Like, only people who had money back in like the 50s could afford to spend spare parts on a car and then race it and crash it. And guess what? Spend more money on those spare parts. Like, the regular person wasn't doing that. So whenever we have these conversations about having influencers at Formula One races and, oh, they don't even watch the sport, I'm so sorry, but like, they need to make money and like, they gotta promote it somehow. And like, them being there, like you said, is way more beneficial to Formula One than us. Now, when the teams are inviting people, I think that's so great. I know Aston Martin does a really great job with that. Alpine actually does a pretty good job with that as well too. And I think there should be more, but if you look, there's actually quite a lot of ways you can, try and get invited to, a team's paddock during the race weekend. But again, when you compare to something like IndyCar, when I was at IndyCar last year, they had this thing where we have like this thing called Go Transit, which is like our line that takes you from like different cities in Ontario. And if you had a Go Pass on the Friday, you could come into the paddock for free as long as you had a Go Pass and you just showed it to us, and you can like see the cars and the drivers and all that stuff, which I thought was great. And I was like, if only Formula One could do something like this, right?
Yeah, that would be really cool. Especially because they kind of have the time on their schedule. Like when F2 is on the track, you can invite fans into the paddock. Like, there's a lot of ways for them to make it work. But yeah, like you're saying, it is what it is. Oh, sorry, I didn't answer the other half of the question. And I think Stephanie can add on to this as well. In terms of Max Verstappen's statements, obviously, who's a real racing fan. And like you said as well, like, people complaining about, oh, influencers don't watch the races. Okay, but you were an influencer, not literally, but like, you didn't know what Formula One was at some points as well. And someone brought you in, or you found it yourself and you grew your love from there. Maybe that influencer will become a Formula One influencer from being invited. You never know.
Or a fan.
Exactly. And in terms of being a real racing fan, I thought it was rubbish then, and I still think it's rubbish now. There's no such thing as real racing. There's no such thing. No racing series has it. Maybe rally is like the closest to real, but even then, they're never side by side. So is that real racing? There's no real overtaking because it's a timed series. You know, there's so many arguments you can make for any racing series that anyone puts above what Formula One is this year to make it real racing. So
it's been great.
When Max said that, I kind of went crazy, because I was like, there's no such thing as real racing. The things you guys are doing in Formula One now, energy management, battery harvesting, all that stuff, they've been doing in WEC for years and no one's complained. They've been doing it in IMSA and everyone says IMSA is so much better than Formula One, but they've been doing energy management, fuel management, all the stuff in all these other series. But it comes to Formula One and we're like, the drivers are like, no, it's not real racing. You guys were using hybrids just yesterday, like
literally.
What are you talking about?
And you know, because Misha's not here, I could say Max can leave if you don't like it. I'm so sorry. Get out. Misha loves Max, and this is like a point of contention.
But yeah, like, I understand where the drivers are coming from in terms of it's not comfortable to race. It's not what they're used to. You guys are the 22 fastest drivers on the planet. Adapt. and I hate saying that to athletes. I hate it because I feel like an old head. I feel like an old person. But just get in the car and do what you need to do. Like,
and it's been a great season so far. Sorry, I just have to say. And while we're on this, both of you, this is gonna be like really quick fire. What is your most controversial motorsport related hot topic that you stand by, will not change your mind on, no matter how much evidence you get regarding it? Quick fire, go, Stephanie.
I think the F1 and MotoGP calendar should be shorter, less races.
Snaps to Stephanie. Mine is, I don't think we will get a female Formula One driver as soon as everyone thinks.
Ooh, so you're not seeing the vision for 2030?
No.
We've talked about this at length. No, I agree with that.
Yeah, no. I think right now, I know I said this was going to be quick fire and look at me adding more stuff. I think, unfortunately, right now, I don't see it either. I think what they're doing with F1 Academy, when I talk about F1 Academy, I mean specifically when they're building the girls up from the ground level, so from karting, I think that will help. But I don't necessarily know if the drivers that are currently, like, unfortunately past the age of, like, 16 are going to be the next F1 driver. But I do think if they are working with, like, let's say a 7-year-old in karting, you know, and she's able to do all these feeder series and finally make it, I do see the vision on that. But right now, it's just so soon.
I hear that. So that the age argument, and my other argument would be the pipeline argument. They need to stop deviating from the F1 pipeline. If F1 Academy is equivalent to F4 or FRECA, then let them move up to F3. Don't move them to GB3. Put them in F3, F2, F1. That's the only way it's going to work.
I also don't think, and this is something that I say on our pod probably once an episode, Formula One is not the end all and be all of motorsport. Genuinely. I think I have a bigger vision for a woman in motorsport than just Formula One, you know?
Yeah. Okay, in the words of, I think it's Gianluca Petakov, he says the goal is driving. Generally, whatever series you're in, the goal is driving.
That part.
Yeah. Sorry, just one last thing. On your karting argument, I think you're right about like them. The next talent is currently probably not even born yet, to be really honest with you. And I think like what you're saying, like them developing from karting is a great idea, but there needs to be more outside of just trying to join the F1 Academy, Discover Your Drive series, because like we've seen like from all over the world, it's not just drivers from England, Europe that kind of make Formula One special. Like, where's the South American drivers? Because we've got so many special drivers that came from Brazil or wherever that that really made an impact in Formula One, but we kind of don't see that pipeline.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think, and funding needs to be a serious thing as well, too, because the lack of funding in women in motorsport and women's sports in general, but like women in motorsport is just so upsetting and heartbreaking.
Yes.
And then just to end off our show, we always love to have our guests kind of give us their take on what different communities can learn from each other. So what I want to ask from you is, what is something that you think Rally could learn from F1, and in turn, what F1 could learn from Rally?
That's interesting. I personally think it's should I say driver wages? I think they're a bit low in Rally. And if you have the champion, Kalle Rovanpera, moving from Rally to F1 to be in a feeder series just to get to F1, it's a bit concerning. So something about that has to change. But what could F1 learn from Rally? Ncumisa, do you want to take that? Because I don't know.
I think what Rally could learn from F1 is kind of learning to make manufacturers happy. I think it would grow the sport a bit more. Because Rally is kind of set in their ways in terms of their regulations, and they don't really care if a manufacturer leaves or comes or whatever, which kind of puts us in the precarious situation we're in with rally. And while they don't have to make manufacturers like completely happy, you don't have to bend to their every whim. I think kind of working alongside them in terms of regulations and the drivers as well, in terms of what they want to see, would really help. In terms of what F1 could learn from rally, I think let the drivers speak openly, I think. Rally has kind of suppressed them now. They have. They're not allowed to criticize the FIA. They're not allowed to criticize basically anything that's going on now. But I think, basically. But I think maybe having more of an open type of media landscape would help them.
Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. This was so much fun. I know Misha would also say the same thing. Before we let you go, would you guys like to let our audience know where they can find you?
First, thank you for having us. We really love talking to you guys. You could find us on Number45 on Instagram, which is number40.5 in words. And then on our podcast, on anywhere you catch your podcast except YouTube, because we're audio forward. We are Number45 with Ncumi and Steph.
Yeah, and then if you want to follow me personally, I'm on Instagram as well. It's me 4 eyes S Ncumisa. It'll be in the description, basically.
It will. It will. And they'll also like do a little link. That is so funny. Why do you have so many eyes?
When I first made it, I was like a teenager or something. I first got onto Instagram, and my username was taken, and I didn't want my name and surname in my username, so I was like, let me just make it long, and it's just stuck.
That is so funny. But no, we're so excited to carry on this conversation on your pod. So to our audience listening, stay tuned because we will be joining them on the Number45 podcast as well. Thank you again so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Bye.
Of course.